UI, API, REST API. We might have heard those acronyms many times, even as non-developers. But many of us are a bit uncertain what it actually all might be. I'll try to simplify the concept, but even if you already know what UI and or API are, you should take a look at the end what's so special with REST API. I guess it's fairly easy to grasp what UI stands for. It stands for user interface, and it means the visual elements of a panel that we are supposed to operate on the web page. It might be a form with fields, selects and buttons. Such user interfaces might resemble some real-life, physical operation panel or an old-fashioned paper form. I hope everybody agrees when I say that we need a backend to handle all the data that is sent from the user interface. And if we do agree to that, the next question is, then what do we practically need to transfer those data to the backend? Well, first we need a transport mechanism like some electric lines of a kind, normally controlled by some operating system or a network system. There must also be some protocol to follow. I mean, you don't send a message in an exotic language to a person who does not speak that language, and the receiving backend needs to have an interface to control its functionality. Remember that the backend is an application. From the user interface, we remember that we control the application by typing into fields, selecting from menus and pressing buttons. Only human beings and robots are capable of doing so, but there's no person sitting at the backend to fill out forms or press buttons for you. Instead, the backend system listens for incoming messages, and this backend has got to have strict rules for how these messages are to be structured. If the sender does not know what the interface, what it is capable of doing and how to command it, he's out of luck. The interface does not communicate like people normally do, but developers might understand it like,
if you are authorized, I'm willing to accept a command like create a row. But then I also won't accept the field's name, age and sex. And I promise you, I will reject you if you send bad data for those fields.
After performing some action on the program's interface, you normally get returned a response, either good or bad. Now introducing the REST API. When it comes to the REST API, the backend is always, I guess, a web server. You know what a web server is? You're interacting with many different ones when you're surfing the internet. The web server's backends are capable of handling incoming data in the way the web developers decided to do. They create those applications writing in their favorite programming language. And the main reason that REST API has become so popular, that even though the applications are written in different programming languages, the way data is transferred, how the data has been structured, how reception of data is performed, and how the response is delivered back to the sender will be identical. That is a huge standardization. For sending data to the backend, you now only have to go to some links. The links go to the listeners on the backend. Web links or URLs are pretty standard today. Everybody knows them. When you go to a link, the web address, you might also send some data together with it. The API of the backend tells you what data is allowed and how it is to be structured. Look at this example. After the question mark comes the data. The fields are divided by the ampersand symbol, and the value of each field comes right after the equal sign. Don't let that %20 scare you. That's just a geeky way of saying space. The browsers have all the same built-in functionality to communicate with the backend over the REST API. The most common way to handle the communication between your browser and the backend nowadays is through JavaScript. And JavaScript is supported in every browser and in the same way.